All right, let's look at a couple ways we can change and modify the free templates you downloaded. Now, one of the first changes you'll probably want to make, especially with the desktop theme, is really changing the fonts. The fonts were set up with the system fonts, Arial Black and then Arial up here, really just to make it easier to share the templates, but most likely you'll probably want to look at something more organic, like a handwritten font or something that's a little less formal than Arial. So let's go ahead and look at that change. Then we'll also look at changing these images. These images were all placed on the slide master, so you can see that I can't access them from here. The only thing I can access is are the text placeholders. So we'll look at how we can change those as well. So to access them, just go to View, Slide Master, and here's our font right here. So the first thing we want to do, you'll notice up here, let me just show you this real quick, is we really only included the wood background on the top slide master and then this piece of paper over here for the background for the heading. The rest of the text was all set up on the slide level right here. That just gave us a lot more option for how we could include the headings and where we included them. So you will have to make any changes. For example, say we wanted to change this from Arial, so we go up here to Home, and let's see if I just so a handwritten font like Skippy Sharp, move that up a little bit in size. I applied that new heading 2 right here, but if I wanted to apply it, say, to the next slide, I would need to manually change that, and I can easily use the format brush, right? So just select the text box here. Under the Home tab, we have the format brush, and then I can come down here and then apply it. But just doing that gave us a lot more freedom for how we could lay out all of these text placeholders on the slide. Now, one other thing I'd mention here is, you probably heard that you shouldn't use more than 2 or 3 fonts in a course, and that is true, but on something like this, it's a little bit more asymmetrical, maybe a little bit more disorganized. I think it's okay to mix fonts. So for example, on that newspaper clipping, you might want to go something more like a serif and bring that in, and then maybe even on the post-it, right, something like a marker font. So just a couple options right there, and I think it's okay to mix 3 or 4 fonts in something like this, because really each of these elements is sort of its own content holder that might have been thrown on top of the desk, the newspaper clipping, the post-it, and then the main piece of paper up here. So I'd say go ahead and play with some multiple fonts in this type of layout. So what else can you change? Well, all of these elements right here, the paper elements, are just images that have been inserted and placed on the background. So you can easily change these out, right, with something of your own. So in this case, I have more of a lined paper, and that's something you could do. Another thing you could do is just swap out the side images, right? So maybe you have something else like this, and let's move that to the front. Actually, I need to move the text up. So again, if you have other elements that you've put together, right, and then you can just take the text, and look at that, or just move it over a little bit to align it with that paper. And just bring in the other elements that you have. These are just starting points. Consider these layouts as just a starting place. Other thing you can do if you work in 2007, 2010 is change the color of this wood. This wood is kind of a bright brown, right? So you just double click it, come in here, and maybe go something that's a lot darker. And look at the change it makes automatically, right? So what a difference that color change to it will make. So play with those layouts. Come up here, you just talk the top slide master. Change the color, right? Maybe something blue or gray. Now it's more of a washed out wood. But just a couple options there for customizing the colors, the fonts, and the existing images in your desktop themes. If you have any questions on customization options or ways to work with these, please just post a question to the forums, and we'll be glad to help.